Well, good morning. Today is Saturday, May 18th. It's raining. Jim and Jimmy were going to paint the rest of the deck today. Unless it stops. It's only supposed to rain for a couple hours, but we'll see. I was going to get my flowers today for my outdoor, my annuals, but it's Saturday, and especially since it's raining, everybody will be there. So I'm not going to be doing that. As you can see, I'm not in the bestest of moods. I've decided I'm going to my meeting today because I need the meeting. I always like my leader always said, when you don't need a meeting, that's when the meeting needs you. And when you need a meeting, that's when you need to go to it. And how does that go? I know she says it. When you don't need a meeting, when you need a meeting, the meeting is always there. But when you don't need a meeting, the people are there to help you because I need help. I really do. No, that's still not right. When you're doing poorly, you need a meeting, but when you're doing well, the meeting needs you. I knew I would get it out. It just took me a little bit. It just shows you where my mind is. It's just, I just had a really bad week. I disappointed myself. I didn't live up to my promise to my mother, so I feel bad about that. My mother's deceased, but I really do believe she's with me all the time, and she's always watching over me. And I just, this is gonna be like a boohoo video, and I don't mean it to be a boohoo video, but I wish I could just get back to my frame of mind when I started, and I was so excited. And I was so looking forward to going to my meetings every week because I knew I was going to have a loss. And as the righteous brother said, I've lost that loving feeling because I think you can see it in my eyes. But I'm not quitting. I mean, it sounds like I'm quitting. It sounds like I'm giving up, and I am, and by no means quitting. And by no means giving up, because I know if I quit or give up, I'll be right back to 300 pounds before you know it, because I could put weight on. I'm a champion at doing that. I'd win an Olympic gold for that. With the gold medal around my neck. Who can gain the most weight without even trying? Me. Because that's unfortunately the one activity in my life that I excel at. is not succeeding in my weight loss anymore. I did before. I had gold medals. I was doing so well. Then I dropped down to silver. Then I dropped down to bronze. And now I'm just not even in the medal contention. And it just annoys me. But I like my thumbnail. Well, I like Sam Elliott. Who doesn't like Sam Elliott? Jeez, oh Pete. But anyway, that's why the mirror is so small. It's because it's behind you. And the only way you can learn is to look at it every once in a while. Because even when you're driving, you look in your mirror just occasionally, just to see, what's going on behind you and who's coming up on you and what's approaching you, and thinking, can I go over to that lane without getting hit? You make your decisions when you're driving by looking in the mirror. But the most part, to get to your destination, you got to look ahead. If you're constantly just looking in your mirror, you'd never get to where you're going. And I have to remember that. I have to learn from my past, the good and the bad. I've had a lot of good in my past. I've had a lot more good than bad. But I've had my share of bad. And you have to learn from it. And that's what I'm going to start doing, is learning from the past. I'm going to stop looking in that rearview mirror and thinking, well, I did poorly yesterday, and I did poorly the day before that, and I did poorly before that, and I keep looking back. And no, I want to look ahead. I want to see where I'm going. I can see my goal. I can see my destination. It's far away, it really is, but that doesn't stop you from going anywhere. When I go in July to Minnesota, that's a 13-and-a-half-hour drive. I can look at it and think, oh my gosh, 13-and-a-half hours in the car. I don't know. But then at the end, I'm going to see my family. It's going to be my reward. And it's going to go by so fast that when I get there, I'm going to think, well, that went by pretty fast. It wasn't so bad. And I have to remember that because, you know, anything in life you can learn by just taking a quick glance to behind you. Don't dwell on the back. Don't dwell on the past. Dwell on the future. Think of what the future is going to bring you. And I am by no means blaming Weight Watchers or Freestyle or Smart Points or Points Plus or anything you want to say. The reason I'm failing is because of one thing. And I forget who you are, and I so appreciate your comment. I did not take it, maybe you meant it mean-spirited. I didn't take it mean-spirited. That just shows you I don't even remember your name, because if it was a mean-spirited comment, I would definitely remember your name. But I didn't take it that way. I took it to be helpful. And they simply put 2 words: no willpower. And I agree completely. I had no willpower this week. I didn't control my willpower. I had none whatsoever. I made poor choices. Nobody made me make them. They were choices that I made myself. And I can't blame Freestyle, because Freestyle works. You know, I think that you can always find an excuse. Anything in life, you can always find an excuse why you failed. But the true test is when you can really look at yourself and see that you're the reason that you failed. It wasn't because A, B, or C happened in your life. A, B, and C can happen in your life, but you learn from that and move on. And don't blame it for anything that happens to you, because you'll never get anywhere in life if you can always find fault. You can always find fault in other people. You can always find fault in what happened with someone else to blame. It's not until you face it yourself and realize that you control your own destiny. You control where you're going. You control how you're going to get there. To an extent, you got to stop for red lights. But sometimes when you're at a red light, you can stop and think, you know, am I going the right way? Did I want to turn there? Is this really where I want to go? And then when it turns green, you proceed. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at the light. It's red. I'm going to think, where am I going? I'm going to learn from my past. I'm not going to blame it on anything, any program, any other person. It's me. It's me. And I'm going to do some really deep soul searching. I'm going to do some really strong praying this weekend, and I'm going to do it. I really am. I know I say this all the time, and you're thinking, oh yeah, Sandy, play that record again, play that song again, because we've heard it so many times. But it kind of reminds me of when I was a teenager and I got my money, my allowance for the week. And I always used to go up to the Civic Music store and buy a record. And I always, whatever was the current song. And we always just stood in the store, my girlfriends and I, and he would always play the record before you bought it to make sure it didn't have any scratches or skip. And I don't even know where I'm going with this. But it was just like, it took me a minute to decide, did I really want to buy that record? And I enjoyed it for that quick minute. Do I want to bring it home and enjoy it forever? Yeah, I do. And that's what I want to do with this weight loss. I want to take a hot minute. I want to play that record, listen to that song, and then go and think, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to do it this time, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy myself this time, because I really haven't been enjoying myself this past week. Even though I've been eating everything I wanted to eat, it didn't bring me the satisfaction that I thought it would. And so I learned from that. But, okay, I gotta get in there. I'm gonna be late. I know I go in circles and I don't even know. Sometimes I get off on a thought in like that record thing, and maybe when I edit this, I'll figure out what I was trying to get at. And then I'll come back and fill it in and let you know what I was really trying to think, because I don't think that was the point I was trying to make. Oh well. As your mother always said, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, the whole beginning of the meeting, I kept thinking, what was I going with that record story? Where was I going with that record story? And then I remembered what I was going with that record story. Record story was like when I would go and pick a record, I didn't get a huge allowance. I got $1 a week, which back then you could buy a candy bar for a nickel. So let me think, $1 really was more than you really thought. But I could buy a record for 49 cents. And so I would always think, how do I want to spend that 49 cents? I want to have a record that I know that it's going to bring me joy. And I really thought about that record. And that's what I meant. Before I made the choice, I stopped and I thought about it. And I thought, yeah, that's the record I want. But I want to hear it just to make sure that that's the right choice. That's the choice I want to make. And sometimes I would, like if you had 3 or 4 favorite songs, I'd play 3 or 4 favorite records before I decided which one I wanted to buy. The guy that owned the shop he loved it because it was like a little hangout for all teenagers that they could go and listen to music for free, basically. And so that was the point I was trying to make with that story. But I also looked up to find out who gave me the comment, no willpower. Because, like I said, I don't know if it was meant to be mean or it was just to be helpful. I always look at the brighter side of the things. That's just my nature. I can be somewhere and afterwards somebody can say, that person was really putting you down. And I thought, no, I don't think so. You really think so? I like to see the better in people. I always can see the better in people. I mean, it's just... If you look hard enough, even the most evil people have a good quality. They might have way more evil qualities than they have good qualities, but like I said, sometimes you just got to dig in there and find the better quality. And I like to look for the better quality in people. That's just who I am. So anyway, it was Jana, Jana, or is it Jana? Ulivi, Ulivi. Jana was the first name. Ulivi was the last name. And whoever this person was told me no willpower. Yeah. I so agree with what you said. I really did. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to face that scale. It can't be as bad as I think. It just really can't be as bad as I think. And I have to have willpower. I have to have willpower. I have to overcome that mindset that the scale controls my life. I can't be doing that. So I just really can't. So, good news, bad news. Okay. The good news is I stayed the same. All that worrying and I didn't gain not 1 pound. Look at, as we can see, there it goes. I stayed the same. Bad news. I ate so badly and I stayed the same. So, this is, I'm talking to you, Caitlin. We both have to remember, of course, she's got to weigh in on Monday. I have a whole other week. But she ate very poorly on Mother's Day, and so she thought that when she went on weight on Monday, she was going to gain, and she lost 0.8. So she didn't gain, and she lost. And so, your body plays tricks on you. And I have to know that as poorly as I was this week, it might not have shown on the scale this week, but it damn well might show up again next week if I continue on. And I don't want to get back to where I was. And Jana, whatever your name is, and my mother talking to me from heaven said, get on that scale, face it, write it in the book, let it go. Let it go, let it go. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. So I still have 66 pounds that I lost. It's 11 less than I originally lost, because I have originally lost 77 pounds, but I have to remember how far I've come. And I had a bad week, and as they talked about, it was nice because today they talked about having old thoughts, new thoughts. And you really have to think, was it a bad week or was it a bad day? Or do you say I had a bad day? Was it a bad day or was it a bad meal? Think of it in that perspective. And so I'm glad I went to the meeting. I'm glad I faced the scale. And I'm glad I got you guys out there supporting me. I can't ask for more in my life. You can always ask for more. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. But I always say if you don't ask, you might not get it. So it doesn't hurt to ask. The most people can tell you is no. I always say that. Whenever I go and I try to get a sale or deal or something, I always ask, and then Jim will always say, why did you even bother? And I go, the most they can say is no. There's a possibility they might say yes. So, okay, I gotta go to the bank. I gotta put some money in the bank, pay for the cottage, because I have to put my deposit down for that, and then just get busy living, because I'm not gonna be losing weight if I don't get busy. So, okay, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, my quote for today: if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. I don't like the way my weight loss is going, but I can change it, and I am going to change the way I think about it. Well, actually, I did really well today. I just had a salad and some cottage cheese for my lunch, and then I did have a slice of cake. But other than that, I think I did pretty good. I'm not very hungry today. I don't know why. Susan Moon did try to call that number that I gave you on my Weight Watcher highlight video, and you need to call 1-800-978-2400. I guess they're changing the magazine over to something called Eating Well, and so the number I gave you, I guess, isn't the right number because that's the number that she said to go to. But other than that, it's still kind of early. It's about 6:30. I might have something else, maybe a turkey sandwich later on, an oven roasted turkey sandwich. But for now, I'm pretty full. So I will. I don't know if I'm going to video tomorrow, but I'll definitely see you on Monday. So I'll talk to you guys either tomorrow or Monday.